Hi, I'm Jimmy Blakeney, president of Oru Kayak, and I've been kayaking for about 30 years. And in this video, I'm just going to give you some tips of what I've learned along the way that will help you have a better time when you're getting out there on the water and stay safe. So first things first, when it comes to safety, you want to always wear a life jacket when you're paddling. You want to always paddle with a friend, and you want to pick a location where there's calm wind, there's no boat traffic, and you're really protected from the wind. That's the number one thing, is wind can be a big problem when you're out on the water. So that's a great place to start. Once you've chosen your location and you're gonna launch your kayak, in this case I'm on a beach. We have a separate video where we talk about launching from a dock, which is also common. But in this case, I'm just gonna have the stern of my boat on the beach, and then I can just get in the boat. Now if I have a skeg in the boat, I'm gonna need to do this in reverse, and I'll have the nose on the beach just enough that it's setting on the beach. I can step in my boat, clean my feet, and get in, and then when I lean back and press off, it's pretty easy to launch that way. Once you're in the water, these are some things that have really helped me, and I use them every day whenever I'm out on the water. And it really has to do with the three components that we're dealing with when we're kayaking. We have a blade, a boat, and our body. So those are the three things that are having to interact in order for us to achieve whatever we're trying to achieve when we're out on the water to get where we're going. So when it comes to our boat, having good contact with your boat is critical. If I have good contact with the foot brace, with my backrest, and I'm able to lock myself in position, what that does is it allows my lower body to essentially connect and become part of the kayak, right? That's also transitioning now to body position. When I have my body position upright, that's a really good position to be in. If you're leaning too far back, you're not going to be able to paddle efficiently. So now that I'm in the boat and I have a good connection and I'm sitting with good posture, you also want to be able to separate your upper and lower body. So right now, when I'm rocking the boat side to side, you can see that my upper body is staying still and centered over the kayak, but I'm able to separate the boat and my lower body. So what that does, it allows us to really take on any waves or any other conditions that are coming at us, and we can do that without tipping. If I tip my head, that's a good way to tip over, because if I keep my hips locked and I tip my head, that tends to be what causes people to capsize. When it comes to our paddle, we're gonna hold our paddle, elbows bent about 90 degrees, and we're gonna keep our hands centered, so you can just check your paddle. Typically for most people, in your left hand, the blade is vertical. In the right hand, it might be offset a little bit. And that's a good way to hold it. The right hand stays connected to the paddle, and the left hand can kind of have an OK symbol and pivot, which allows you to reach forward with your blade. So now that I've got my body, my boat, and my blade in the right positions, the next thing I gotta do is put it all together. So when I'm out here, I need to convert the energy from my body through the blade into the water to propel me forward. So the number one thing, the number one rule for that is you wanna put the blade fully in the water before you take a stroke. So we see a lot of people that will put the blade partially in the water, kind of splash the water like this. But when you put the blade fully in the water, that actually makes you more stable, and it's gonna give you more power. So now I'm staying connected. I'm pressing into my feet. I'm pressing into my lower back. That helps me stay connected to the kayak and get good efficiency when I'm out on the water when I take my strokes. So now that we have our body, our boat, and our blade dialed in, it's time to talk about the different types of strokes. So essentially, when it comes to our strokes, we have a forward stroke, a reverse stroke, a sweep stroke, and a draw stroke. So forward stroke is essentially the stroke we're using to get where we want to go. And again, I'm planting my blade fully in the water before I take the stroke. A sweep stroke is when I plant the blade and push away from the boat to turn, either reverse or forward. And a reverse stroke is essentially the opposite of a forward stroke, where I'm planting my blade closer to the boat in order to propel myself backwards. And a draw stroke is essentially any stroke I'm doing just to pull the boat sideways. So anytime I'm pulling the boat sideways, that's a draw stroke. So again, the number one rule for paddling is to put your blade fully in the water. So if you do that, you're off to a really good start regardless of which stroke you're using. But I'm gonna focus here just on the forward stroke for a little bit more on technique. So a little trick you can do to teach yourself good forward stroke technique involves locking your elbows. So if I lock my elbows and I paddle, what it forces you to do is rotate your torso. So now you can see there's no way for me to use my arms to paddle. I have to use my torso and I have to rotate my torso. All right, so it's a little trick to force you to do that because most people are going to use just their arms to paddle. And when you use your arms, these are little muscles and you're going to get fatigued quickly. If you use your core, you can paddle a lot further. You actually get a better workout too. So to see what that looks like, once you've used that little trick and you've kind of figured out how to engage those muscles and you can feel those core muscles engage, you can kind of bend your elbows slightly, but you'll see that I'm still, as I rotate my torso, I'm not really using my arms. If I use my arms and I keep my torso straight, that's how you're gonna get fatigued. So those are a few tips, a few tricks for getting started kayaking. If you have any other comments or questions, leave them below and we'll see you out on the water.